Courtesy of Venice FiIm Festival It would be hard not to have a good time, at least some of the time, during Manhunt. Veteran Hong Kong director John Woo's return to high-concept, low-brow action, after his foray into period drama with The Red Cliff and The Crossing movies. But whether we're laughing with the film or laughing at the film is a slightly less clear-cut question. Manhunt is a proudly daft action thriller that shoots its double guns through the buddy movie and the wrongly accused men on their own genre, and even ends up slow-mo sliding into sci-fi later. But above all of that, it's a kind of a John Woo Pinterest board, a kitschily self-referential mashup of the Woo hoopla he perfected during his decade-long reign of poetic batshit mayhem between 1986's A Better Tomorrow and 1997's Face Off. As awesome as that sounds, and sometimes is, Manhunt is sadly more pastiche than homage, especially during those moments between action set pieces where stick-figure characters say things like, "It's like in those old classic films." You like old classic films? I love old classic films. Wait, I have a DVD of an old classic film in my car. Let me get it for you. That exchange is what passes for sexy chit-chat. A suave, successful Chinese lawyer Du Chiu, a convincing Jiang Hanyu, familiar from last year's Operation Mekong as well as Folly the Great Wall, flirts with the comely barmaid in a small traditional bar in Japan. Thankfully, no sooner has he gone to fetch that old, classic film than the barmaid, actually a highly trained assassin orphan called Rain Haji-wan, flings back the sleeves of her kimono to reveal a gun in either hand, and, tag-teaming with her similarly disguised sister Dawn Angelus Woo, John's daughter, proceeds to wipe out a back room full of drunken gangster businessman types. The women's silks billow prettily in slow motion, and their back-to-back teamwork has all the wow of classic Woo. Rain and Dawn are actually the muscle for their ruthless father figure Sakai-jun Kunimura, the head of the shady pharmaceutical corporation for which Du Chiu has completed some lucrative, if maybe not morally sound, legal work. But the morning after a company celebration, at which had met the mysterious Mayumi Chiwei, Du Chiu wakes up next to a woman's dead body, is framed for murder and pursued by dogged cop with a past. Yamura Masaharu Fukuyama, faring less well here than in his other Venice title, Hirokazu Kori, does the third murder. Gradually, Yamura grudgingly becomes Duki's ally. There's a nice bit of business where they have to fight off a gang of goons while handcuffed together, and together with Mayumi they try to bring the pharma company down, along with its experimental drug that causes a Jekyll and Hyde-like transformation in its victims. The plotlines, lifted from Junya Sato's 1976 film of the same name, which was itself based on a novel by Juka Nishimura, are more plentiful than plausible. But plot isn't really the point. Really it's a throwback nostalgia trip to Woo's glory days, from the golden-hued 90s great of the pictures to the generic, sax-accented action score, to the water scooter chase to Yamamura's line toasting a better tomorrow, to the destruction of a small wooden shed that inevitably turns out to contain an apparently inexhaustible flight of fluttering white doves. Accusations of point missing will no doubt fly thick and fast as doves from a newly demolished dovecote, from those who come to Woo solely for the action bona fides. But for those of us for whom the director's best work, like the brilliant Hard-Boiled or the transcendently ludicrous Face-Off, is marked out not just by superior gun-fu but by the disarming sincerity with which he always sold the silliness, Manhunt is a disappointment. The writing is desultory, the characters undeveloped, and stakes are low, if you discount the vague anxiety that builds up whenever heartthrob Fukuyama has to deliver English dialogue, though the ultimate triumph of good guys over bad guys is assured from the outset. Sometimes his line readings, of zingers such as "there's only one end for a fugitive, a dead end," are so mangled that there's momentum a doubt as to whether he'll make it to the end of the sentence. However much fun the film's high points may afford, there is also something faintly depressing about seeing a once inventive filmmaker plunder his own legacy for easy props. One could say there's no better man to make a John Woo parody than John Woo, but when he was responsible for a clutch of actions films that genuinely redefined the genre, to a thrillingly non-parodic level, with a dexterity that still exists in the sculpted professionalism of his action scenes, Manhunt feels underwhelming and undercooked, distinctly soft-boiled.